In today's video, we're going to talk about overcoming the phenomenon which a lot of people experience, this brain freeze or blanking out during an interview, which is quite common in high pressure, intense interviews. And one thing I would stress is that regardless of how well you practice, how good you are, if you succumb to the interview pressure, then it's really going to affect your career path, career opportunities, your income potential. So it's really something you have to address. So today we're going to talk about why you get the brain freeze and how to overcome it or even prevent it. Now, if you're wondering why this happens, the answer is simple: stress. But to be more specific, it's when you have too much stress. And what it does is it triggers a freeze response. You've all heard of the flight or fight response, or fight or flight response, which is similar to like a deer in front of headlights. Fight is when you confront a danger or threat. Flight is when you run away. Freeze is where you just stay immobilized. And that seems to be the most appropriate response in an interview. You're not really going to fight the interviewer. I mean, in theory, you could end the interview, but most people try to overcome it and then they can't, and then they just freeze. So it seems like that's the only option your body has when the stress is too much. And what that does is it impairs your cognition. In layman's terms, essentially you become dumber temporarily. In fact, you might say you don't have access to your brain in a sense. So it's like going to an interview without your brain, and you wouldn't want to do that. But that's what the stress or this too much stress does. I remember being in an interview with another interviewer. So it's two interviewers and one candidate. And this candidate started off really well. It was like a system design interview. They had a good architecture. I was sure they were going to nail the interview, and the design they proposed was going to be one of the best we've actually seen. But at some point in time, this dude just froze. And I tried everything to make him relax, but he just couldn't. And as soon as the interview ended, his mind just came back. I saw a Reddit post about something similar, which is something that really reminded me about this event. And during the post-interview sort of debrief, I tried my best to fight for this candidate because I knew it was just a pressure thing, but the other interviewer wasn't having it. So regardless of how good you are, if you let this stress get to you, it's going to cost you some opportunities. So let's talk about the stress response quickly. There's a part of your brain called the amygdala. When you detect stress, obviously this is implicit or behind the scenes, or involuntary, let's put it that way, it triggers a stress response. So what happens is your body releases stress hormones, your heart rate increases, your breathing increases. I would actually argue this is a good thing. And this is probably why you hear some people saying like they perform well under pressure. This is because for them, when your heart rate goes up, you're pumping more blood, more oxygenated blood to your brain. That has more oxygen to your brain, more sugar. Same thing with the increased rate of breathing. You're taking in more oxygen. So it's like having more fuel for your cognition. So that's a good thing. But when the stress is too much, this is when bad things happen. You get cognitively impaired. Your focus narrows, meaning like in an interview context, it's harder for you to take on hints. So if this is one of these pair programming interviews, or one of these interviews where the interviewers, even knows that they need to give hints to help you make progress, and they just want to see how you utilize the information they provide, you're going to struggle. It stifles your creativity. So if you need to think outside the box or be a bit creative during interview conditions, especially if it's like an unfamiliar problem, you're going to struggle again because your focus is kind of narrowed. You're less able to sort of wander and explore different ideas and approaches. And your prefrontal cortex is significantly impaired. And if you think about this prefrontal cortex, this is one of the big distinguishing parts of the brain relative to other like mammals. So in a sense, at that point, one could argue like you're probably not even a human, effectively not a human at that point in time. Maybe when the interview ends and your brain comes back online, then yeah, you could argue. So it's almost like a human, a non-human is taking a challenging interview that's designed for humans. So it's no surprise people struggle. I mean, I'm kind of half joking and I'm not joking as well in terms of this sort of analogy I'm giving. But again, if your prefrontal cortex is impaired, it's hard for you to make decisions and hard for you to express yourself verbally. And everyone knows communication is important in interviews. So It's really bad stuff. Let's talk solutions. So the first one is a mindset shift. And this is really powerful because the idea is to have a mindset that would allow you to not see the interview process as a threat or a dangerous scenario where you then trigger this extreme stress response. That's why it's powerful. So this isn't just nice saying words like, oh, it's all about mindset. No, you actually have to shift your mindset so you can treat this as a non-threatening situation. I would recommend, just focus on being the best version of yourself and not on the outcome. So just focus on executing based on how you practice and forget about the outcome of whether you get the job or not. It's really hard to do, but if you can do this, then you pretty much solve the root cause. Now, if that proves difficult, or you still want to still enhance your prevention of this problem, then of course sleep is adequate sleep, not just getting sleep. Adequate sleep would help you manage stress better. It's like the best nootropic for your brain. There's other nootropics, but I'll leave that for you to explore. I don't want to be here recommending pills and supplements, but that's something you can explore as well. I'll say relaxation techniques also help. So deep breaths. There's this physiological side that this neuroscientist Andrew Huberman keeps recommending. I'll try and put a link to that in the video. Meditation for sure. If that's something you can get into, very low cost technique. Chamomile tea contains this apigenin, which would help with relaxation. I personally take this and it brings down my heart rate. I feel more relaxed. I don't know if it'll work for you, but you can definitely try that. L-theanine is another one that can help with relaxing. Some people take it with caffeine. It helps to reduce jitters. And lastly, I'll say mock interviews, because this can help you build confidence, help you adapt to this interview pressure and the interview conditions, so you can adapt your technique. So if you think about it, most people do this leak code grind when they're practicing for tech interviews, but that doesn't really simulate reality. So the techniques they've developed to handle leak code wouldn't necessarily work in real interviews. This is why it's a good idea to do a couple of mock interviews, adapt your technique, get good at handling the pressure, build this confidence. And if you do all of these, they for sure would help. If you have any other suggestions, please leave a comment. And if you want to do mock interviews, definitely check out the conditioning platform, which I run. We have mock interviews, coaching, we have diagnostic tests, we have content you can learn from, AI mock interviewers, and all sorts of other things. So definitely check it out, conditioning.com. We actually have a 40% off promo in mock interviews, as at the time I'm talking. So definitely check it out. And also check out our Discord community. It's for optimizing your interview prep. We got over 3,000 people. This is quite stale. So you be sure to find people in the process who might be doing the same interviews you're doing or have done something recently. We also have workshops we announce there on the different domains. You can find a study buddy, other people in the same boat, and just ask any questions about your journey. So thanks a lot. Hope this was helpful. If you like this, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and share the stuff, help us grow. You've been great. Thanks.